Have you ever spent hours, maybe even days, preparing for something? A presentation, a meeting, a test. And then, when the moment comes, you freeze or stumble. You think, I did everything. I prepared, I rehearsed, I even imagined every possible scenario, so why did I fail? If this feels familiar, you're not alone. There's a very specific psychological pattern behind this, and understanding it can completely change the way you approach challenges, goals, and even yourself. By the end of this video, you'll know why overpreparation can backfire, what's actually happening in your brain, and practical ways to finally make preparation lead to performance. Let's start with why overpreparation can actually backfire. Overpreparation isn't laziness. It isn't incompetence. Most of the time, it's your brain trying to protect you. Protect you from failure, from embarrassment, from uncertainty. Think of your brain as a safety machine. It wants to avoid mistakes. Mistakes feel dangerous, socially, professionally, emotionally. So it thinks, if I just rehearse everything, I'll be safe. But here's the problem. Overpreparation can increase anxiety, and it can actually decrease performance. Why? Because it shifts your focus from the experience itself to trying to control every tiny detail. And life doesn't work like that. Your brain gets stuck in a loop. Rehearse, anticipate, worry, repeat. By the time the actual moment comes, your mind is exhausted. There's no room for creativity, no room for spontaneity, no room for confidence. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone preparing for a big job interview. They read every company report, memorize answers to every possible question, and even rehearse their handshake. The day of the interview arrives, and their mind goes blank. All that preparation collapses under pressure. Why? Because the brain was too busy trying to prevent mistakes. It wasn't trained to respond naturally or flexibly. So what's actually happening in your brain? When you overprepare, several things are going on. First, cognitive overload. Your prefrontal cortex, your brain's executive manager, is in charge of planning and self-control. Too much preparation? It's like running too many programs on your computer at once. Everything slows down and mistakes happen. Second, perfectionism and fear of failure. If you fear mistakes, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, lights up. Anxiety spikes. And anxiety, it freezes action, clouds memory, and shakes confidence. Third, the illusion of competence. Knowing everything in theory isn't the same as performing in the moment. Overpreparation can trick your brain into thinking you're ready, but readiness is different from execution. Finally, overfocus on control. When you obsess over every detail, you leave little space for flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. The more you try to control it, the more fragile your confidence becomes. In short, your preparation is massive, but it's wired more to prevent failure than to make you succeed. Now, let's make this real. Think about students cramming for an exam. They read every chapter, make detailed notes, rehearse answers in their head. Then the exam starts and panic sets in. They forget what they studied, they second-guess themselves. Overpreparation is like overwatering a plant. You're trying to help, but it drowns the growth. So how do we fix this? How can you prepare enough to feel confident without paralyzing yourself? Here are some practical strategies. Set a preparation deadline. Decide in advance, I will prepare until 5 p.m. After that, I stop. Why it works? Limits stop overthinking. Your brain shifts from rehearsal mode to action mode. Try it with small tasks first. For example, set a 30-minute limit for reviewing slides. When time's up, step away. Practice under real conditions. Simulate the scenario as closely as possible. If it's a presentation, stand up, speak out loud, record yourself. If it's a test, time yourself. If it's a social situation, role play with a friend. Why it works? It trains your brain to perform under pressure instead of just planning. Even if it feels awkward, it's far more effective than perfect mental rehearsal alone. Embrace good enough. Ask yourself, what is the minimum I need to perform well? Perfection isn't the goal. Good enough frees your brain. It leaves room for flexibility, creativity, and confidence. Here's an example. If you're giving a talk, maybe you don't need every statistic memorized, you just need key points and a confident flow. Break the fear-performance link. Fear of failure is natural, but it doesn't define your capability. Try small-stakes exposure. Speak in a low-risk setting. Make a small mistake on purpose. Write a rough draft and share it. Gradually, your amygdala stops overreacting. You get desensitized to fear. Even tiny exposures work. The goal is to show your brain mistakes are okay. You can handle them. Mindfulness and body awareness. Anxiety shows up in your body first. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, racing thoughts. Pause. Breathe deeply. Notice the sensations. Ground yourself. Why it works? It interrupts the overthinking loop. Your brain shifts from planning to doing. Even 30 seconds of mindful breathing before a task can make a huge difference. Add reflection after action. After a performance, reflect. What went well? What could I improve? Keep it observational, not judgmental. This turns every experience into feedback instead of criticism, and slowly rewires your brain to be confident under pressure. A few quick notes. If you're highly sensitive or have ADHD, overpreparation may be stronger. You might need longer deadlines, more structure, or accountability. If anxiety is persistent, freezing despite preparation may require professional support. And remember, the goal isn't to stop preparing. It's to prepare strategically. Too little preparation leads to mistakes. Too much leads to paralysis. Here's what I want you to hear. Struggling with overpreparation doesn't mean you're weak. It means your brain is careful, responsible, attentive. That's a strength once you know how to harness it. Try saying to yourself, I've prepared. I trust myself. Mistakes are feedback, not failure. This small shift reduces pressure and boosts confidence. To recap, overpreparation comes from fear, perfectionism, and a desire for control. It overloads your brain, increases anxiety, and lowers actual performance. Tools like deadlines, real conditions practice, good enough, small stakes exposure, mindfulness, and post-action reflection help turn preparation into performance. Remember, you are capable, resilient, and thoughtful. You can break the overpreparation loop. If you want more videos like this, subscribe and comment below with your experience. Have you ever overprepared and then underperformed? I'd love to hear your story.